Today, it's finally here. We've got a two-part review of the year's biggest game, Modern Warfare 3.
Plus an exclusive trailer for APB Reloaded and a metric ton of BlizzCon cosplay. X-Play starts right now.
Hello and welcome to X-Play. I'm Adam Sessler.
And I'm Morgan Webb. Yes, we'll get to Call of Duty in just a second. But first, we have to get our teas on.
Coming up on today's show, we've got an exclusive trailer for APB Reloaded. The Cops and Robbers MMO is coming back in a big, weird way. Then the developers of Kingdoms of Amalor Reckoning explain the nuts and bolts of their long-awaited RPG.
Plus, we're going to take you to BlizzCon for all the details on the big changes coming to World of Warcraft. Like pandas.
Yeah.
And later, the best cosplay you're going to see anywhere at Blizzard's annual costume contest.
But first, the whole reason why a whole bunch of people are calling in sick today.
Of course, we're talking about Modern Warfare 3. All eyes are on this launch.
It's one of those rare titles that crosses over to everyone vaguely interested in games. Even people who don't play games play Call of Duty.
But should you? Well, here's part one of our review focusing on the campaign.
A lot has happened since Modern Warfare 2's release in 2009.
Your world as you knew it is gone.
Between fierce competition from other games and the splintering of Infinity Ward,
Be advised.
does Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 even have a shot at living up to the hype? In a word, yes. The campaign picks up where we left off. Russian troops are on U.S. soil, and Task Force 141 is fighting a private war against ultranationalist terrorist Makarov, who's behind the whole mess.
If he's back on the grid, then so are we.
It's officially World War III, and the Western world is coming apart at the seams.
We cannot lose New York.
You jump back and forth between various soldiers in combat zones across the globe to witness major flashpoints, as well as checking in with Captain Price's band of badasses who are trying to stop the conflict before the situation gets even worse.
So, try not to die this time.
If you weren't a fan of Modern Warfare 2's more scattered narrative, rest easy. The new installment is a much more straightforward tale that is more reminiscent of the storytelling in the first part of the trilogy.
Gentlemen, we have only two choices: peace or war.
Call of Duty games have always been about tucking narrative into blockbuster spectacle, and Modern Warfare 3 is a masterclass in that regard. The campaign runs at a non-stop pace, hopping into and out of explosive set pieces scattered all across the globe.
Everyone okay?
You'll see surprising and shocking new things throughout, from crazy mid-air physics to breakneck chase sequences
We have to stop this thing now!
to mind-blowing close calls nearly every other minute of play. It's all anchored by the same buttery smooth control and shooting gameplay we expect from a Call of Duty game. As far as campaigns go, this is as good as COD has ever been. But we all know that saving the world is just the beginning. The single-player portion is only part of the epic Modern Warfare 3 meal.
Sounds like more around the corner.
That may be the understatement of the year.
Stick around because we're going to talk Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer later on in the show. Now, last year, the ambitious and much hyped MMO APB launched and died a spectacular death. It didn't last 6 months because it really wasn't that good. But the story does not end there. The game has inexplicably been resurrected by a new publisher and will return with a new title, APB Reloaded. Crazy, right? Even crazier than that, we've got an exclusive trailer that celebrates its return.
Bigger than you ever were. I get more significant than anything you see on earth. No, you can't of atonement. The world is in your hands now. Answer to no one. Relentless. You get this? A modern day shogun. Good versus evil. Underdog. You are now the main event. Avant-garde going hard. What everybody dreams, you can simply manifest. You are more than blessed. Even the most high is impressed. You started out average.
Coming up on X-Play, we're going to tackle Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer and tell you if it lives up to the hype. Plus, we're going to head to BlizzCon for a look at the new World of Warcraft expansion and to eyeball the cosplayers at this year's costume contest. Some scary, some sexy, a whole lot sad. All that and more right after this. Welcome back to the show. Now, if I had to boil Kingdoms of Amalor Reckoning down to a simple meets pitch, it would be this. World of Warcraft meets Oblivion. Yeah, go, take a second, wrap your head around that one. But if you can't do that, then just listen to what the developers have to say.
Kingdoms of Amalor Reckoning is aiming to be one of the biggest RPG titles of 2012, and the developers at 38 Studios and Big Huge Games promise this open-world experience will be a force to be reckoned with. Here's another look.
Hi, I'm Ian Fraser, lead designer on Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. So, as you've hopefully seen even in this little small snippet of combat, the combat in Reckoning is very fast, very dynamic. It has the look and feel of an action game. Everything is very, very kinetic as you fly throughout the space. You see these pauses in animation where Joe's momentarily slowed down in the air. All these various things in animation that really sell the weight and power of combat, sort of the drama of the whole thing. But in the end of the day, we don't want to give the wrong impression. The game is an RPG, not an action game. It's all about what equipment you've purchased, what abilities you've unlocked, what destiny you've chosen to equip. Everything about your moment-to-moment combat is driven by your RPG decisions, and then the awesomeness of combat is where the action game impulse comes in. So if you've played an RPG before, you know that there's more dangers in a dungeon than just enemies. Sometimes you'll find traps. Like that one. So, fortunately, we have ways to deal with this. As I mentioned earlier, there's a number of non-combat skills in Reckoning. One of those, Detect Hidden, will help you deal with things like traps. If you look at the mini-map in the top right, you'll see little orange dots. That's because we've invested enough in Detect Hidden to see where those traps are to help us avoid them. Now with more points in Detect Hidden, which is how many we have here, we can also disarm those traps, and not only that, we can actually salvage them for the components used to build them. Now this is handy because this feeds back into the different crafting systems in the game. Like here, for instance, this is a fire trap. If we'd stepped on this thing, it would have blown up and set us on fire. Now, conveniently, we're able to disarm it using Detect Hidden and get this cloudy fire shard from it. We could then use that in the Sagecraft system to make a fire gem and socket that into our sword to make a flaming sword.
Tune in to X-Play tomorrow for more on Kingdoms of Amalor Reckoning.
Every year, BlizzCon is the place to go for big World of Warcraft news, and 2011's event was no different. Adam went down to Anaheim and got all the details about a new expansion, a new race, and why playing WoW can score you a free copy of Diablo 3.
BlizzCon is the beating bloody heart of all things Warcraft, and this year it gave us pandas. We talked to the big dogs of Blizzard to find out what adding the cutest things in the universe to WoW means to Azeroth.
With World of Warcraft, we have the Mists of Pandaria expansion. It now has pandas. What was the desire to go with Pandaria in the next expansion?
We actually had an April Fool's joke on the website where we announced the Pandaren race, and it was supposed to be really funny, and we actually detailed out some units, and we had all this lore, and then the fans were actually really upset when they found out it was only a joke.
For the past several years, we've been playing around with the idea of introducing Pandarans. What other race can we introduce to Warcraft? And I think that pretty much unanimously, everybody really wanted to see the Pandarans get into World of Warcraft.
The Pandaren are unique from every other playable race in Warcraft in that they start as neither Alliance nor Horde, but neutral. Once your Bamboo Muncher hits level 10, it's decision time.
I think it gets really interesting for the players that have picked one side or the other. I kind of have this feeling that if you're a Horde Panda, you're probably going to be even more angry at Alliance Pandas than you're probably against the other Alliance races, because they're traitors to you now.
Blizzard also announced the Warcraft Annual Pass with some very special goodies attached.
By making a 12-month commitment to World of Warcraft, you will get Diablo 3 free. You will also get guaranteed access into the next World of Warcraft expansion beta when it goes live. Last but not least, you'll get the exclusive in-game mount, Tyrael's Charger.
With Diablo 3, it was just announced that if you do a full year subscription to World of Warcraft, you also get a free copy of Diablo 3.
It's kind of a way to say thank you to our World of Warcraft players, let them not have to make a hard decision, so it's a win-win for everybody.
Players not only get a new race to leap into, but a new melee-heavy monk class, new time trial-based challenge dungeons, and the vast new continent of Pandaria open to players level 85 to 90. We can't wait to check out this expansion. After the break, check out the best cosplay BlizzCon has to offer. Plus, you don't want to miss our part 2 of the Modern Warfare 3 review, which is all about multiplayer, the important part. But first, here's this month's release radar, brought to you by Gamefly. Saints Moments.
Chester's dead! This is so cool!
Saints Moments! Sick of the nonsense that your family members post on Facebook? Then why not fill up your feed with video games? Go to facebook.com/xplay and click like. There's always great cosplay at Comic-Con and PAX, but at the end of the day, it's amateur hour compared to what goes down at BlizzCon. Their annual costume contest is equal parts scary and awe-inspiring, and this year was no different. BlizzCon is a little bit different every year, but one thing stays the same: the amazing level of quality of the handmade costumes. Yep, that's right. All of the outfits you see here have been painstakingly crafted by attendees. The centerpiece of the show is the costume contest. Participants file out to cheers of their fellow fans.
Here they come, your costume contest 2011.
The major rule is that your costume must represent a character from a Blizzard game. Usually that means the Diablo, StarCraft, or World of Warcraft franchises. Some people even came dressed as the same character. We noticed there are several Sylvanas Windrunners.
Sylvanas Windrunner, Banshee Queen.
That would be really awkward if they all went to the same job dressed like that, which is why you should always coordinate. Every morning I call Blair Herder and make sure we aren't both wearing our Horde Moonkin costumes.
The Horde Moonkin!
Hey look, it's Blair! Anyway, nobody can beat this contestant for emotional engagement. He literally suffered for his art. Poor guy. You'll never get out of beta if you keep that up. There are so many great costumes on display that we invited some of the contestants back to G4 headquarters for a professional photo shoot. You can check out the behind-the-scenes video at g4tv.com in high definition. Don't say we never do anything nice for you. But back to the show. In the end, there could be only 3 winners. Host Jay Moore was on hand to reveal them, starting with 3rd place.
Our 3rd place winner, Justin Floyd Deathwing! What are you gonna spend $1,000 on? I'm going to Disneyland! Yes!
The next winner was also a World of Warcraft character.
2nd place, you ready? Chris White, Paladin with Ashbringer, let's hear it! Congratulations, my man, you just won $2,000. Please be careful. I don't have it on me, he's reaching for it!
And then it was finally time for the big reveal.
You tell me who won 1st place. StarCraft Adjutant, Avery Faith. A standing ovation! You just won $3,000. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is your costume winner!
We can't wait to see what these talented costumers have in store for us next year. Play us out, Judgment Minecraft.
Oh, the costumes we didn't show you. After the break, it's time to prestige. Get ready for part 2 of our Modern Warfare 3 review. We're going to talk multiplayer and finally give the game a score. You've been waiting for that. Find out what it is right after this.
Now bring it.
Welcome back. Earlier in the show, we reviewed the campaign of Modern Warfare 3, but that's not why you'll buy it.
Call of Duty is all about multiplayer. It's about ranking up and making children cry.
Here's part 2 of our review.
Call of Duty shines brightest when you're playing with others. And it's no surprise that Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer is exceptional. Making a welcome return from the last Modern Warfare game is Spec Ops mode. 16 new missions are available for the conquering, either solo or with a friend. A couple are just devoted to racking up the body count, but most have interesting co-op-oriented twists that keep both players on their toes. New to Spec Ops is survival, essentially Modern Warfare 3's take on the hugely popular zombies survival mode in the Treyarch Call of Duties. 1 or 2 players take on increasingly difficult waves of enemies, earning money to spend on weapons and upgrades along the way.
Nice work. You're clear to proceed.
The survival matches all play out on the game's 16 multiplayer maps, so it's also a valuable way of learning the maps before you dive into competitive play. Overall, Spec Ops does not disappoint and remains a fantastic addition to the Call of Duty formula. It's just too bad that it limits you to only 2 players, especially in survival matches.
Not good enough.
Competitive multiplayer in Modern Warfare 3 is definitely the most complex and long-term investment-oriented version of the mode the series has yet seen. You're ultimately still looking at one of the best and fastest-paced team-based multiplayer shooters on the market. The new strike packages are the most prevalent game changers. Assault and specialist packages work using the old familiar kill streak system. Support, however, counts all your kills across an entire match, offering less streak-oriented players a chance to make larger contributions to their team's success. It's a relatively small change that adds a great deal of depth. Modern Warfare 3's campaign, multiplayer, and co-op all deliver what they're supposed to.
The window is closing fast. We're ready to kick this off.
With better visuals and tighter controls than the previous Call of Duty games.
Mr. President, we have to get you out of here.
If you're a fan, you will continue to be one. If you're not, maybe it's time you boarded the hype train. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 gets a 5.
That's all of them. Nice work, team.
Out of 5. It can be tough to cut through all the biggest game ever hype, but Modern Warfare 3 turned out to be pretty great.
Yeah, in many ways, it kind of feels more like Modern Warfare 1 than Modern Warfare 2, and I think especially when it comes to that single-player campaign.
Well, the story definitely feels sort of more straightforward, more personal, that kind of thing. So.
And especially because Modern Warfare 2, as fun as those moments were, it's kind of like, wait, why am I here and why is this happening? And you know, it does string together. And you know, it's tight. That is what you expect from it. You know, you got good guns. It's just everything kind of really has that nice kind of big important moment.
And we should say it definitely feels like it's turned up to 11 from the moment that it starts until the end. Some people like that kind of pacing, some people don't like that kind of pacing, but it's going to be that just constant go, go, go action the entire time.
Though I think where it's most remarkable is in the multiplayer. It is an improvement over what has happened before. Remember, this is being done by Infinity Ward, minus a lot of the people who made the original Modern Warfare. And I think it's quite remarkable, and I think it's a strong accomplishment that they've kept the pace for this incredibly strong franchise.
I think some people were definitely worried about the Infinity Ward situation, but I think, you know, if you didn't know that happened, which I think most gamers don't, then I think that you're not going to notice any difference.
And the multiplayer is a little bit more accessible for those people out there that aren't headshot masters. And I think that's one thing that Call of Duty has to have if it's going to grow, because there's some people that really can make it a miserable experience to just kind of wade your toe into it.
Well, but you got to start somewhere, and then you can become the headshot master you were always meant to be.
Exactly. See, killing. It's good. Before you run off and start killing people, though, here's a look at what's coming up on X-Play. Tomorrow, find out if decapitating orcs is as fun as it sounds. We've got a brutally honest review of Lord of the Rings: War in the North. Plus, we'll get some FaceTime with THQ's Danny Bilson and learn what's in store for the Saints Row franchise. Then we've got Modern Warfare 3 pro tips straight from Infinity Ward's Robert Bowling. And a hands-on demo of the colorful platformer Rayman Origins. All that and more, don't miss it. Plus, the strangely violent MMO report.
So now when everybody takes our Modern Warfare score and then runs out and buys it, next time we're going to have some pro tips that are going to help people kind of get started and get into it.
Because, you know, they're like, who was that stranger with an avatar and a funny name?
And they'll know.
Exactly, it was you.
They'll be impressed. It was you. Thanks for watching X-Play.
Tipped by pro.